Just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday.
Liar!
I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
Oh, God.
So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock, and he's sitting there. Helmet. He's punching me in the stomach, like steady punching me.
Here, and there's everyone sitting around. Who here thinks Ovchinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team 6 minutes for 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ovchinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I fucking saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
Be on the Spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to start the show.
Why would I have that?
You had in a circus or something.
6'3", I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they're
all fatter than I am.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
I mean, you're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Good evening. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Wednesday, April 5th. We got another great show for you. LSU played yesterday, baseball yesterday. They won again in 7 innings, again in a midweek game. Again, I know a lot of people scream loudly during the season that midweek games matter. Well, they've taken care of business this year in midweek games. They start another Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. This weekend, it is Easter weekend. That is why they're doing the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. They're not playing on Easter Sunday. That is a normal thing. It's 2 weekends in a row they play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's a little bit of a shake-up in the rotation this weekend. Thatcher Hurd is not starting on Saturday. It instead is going to be Christian Little. We'll get into that. We're going to run through these Heineken headlines. We have Mike Rooney, college baseball analyst from D1 Baseball, coming on the show at 6:15. He works a lot with Kendall Rogers, who's been on the show a few times. Mike Rooney they have a podcast that they post. In yesterday's podcast, he talked about some things. Now, admittedly, he was saying that he is nitpicking on LSU. He was, nitpicking on some things that may worry them, that may cause some issues later on in the season. We're going to ask him about that. Some of those things were in the bullpen. Some of those things where he's not confident in the infield defense. Some of these other things that we're going to ask him where his thought process was and if he's changed it over the course of the last 36 hours. LSU women's basketball parade is tonight, this evening. Actually, it's in 27 minutes. So if you're not watching our show, it's a light show. I understand where everybody's at. I won't hold it against you.
I thought we were getting out of here early.
No hard feelings. We're going to get out in 27 minutes.
You got to go.
30-minute show. Real quick one. LSU basketball, men's basketball. LSU men's basketball landed a transfer from Vanderbilt. Dunham High star Jordan Wright He is originally obviously from Baton Rouge. Goes to Vandy. Averaged, he was a senior. He's going to have another year of eligibility. I believe it's his COVID year. He averaged 10.5 points a game at Vandy on a pretty good team. Obviously, we can use all the help we can get. He's a 6'6" wing. He's coming back home. Hopefully, there's a few other Louisiana guys in the portal. Hopefully, Matt McMahon can bring those guys here as well. Alexis Morris and LaDeja Williams have announced that they are entering the WNBA draft. This is, they're seniors, but they also had an extra year of COVID because of COVID, and they decided that they're going to go to the draft, which good for them. They deserve much respect.
Go out
All
on top.
the luck, yeah. All best of luck to them. If you watch college baseball or Major League Baseball, scary moment happened yesterday. Josh Smith, former LSU shortstop, got hit in the face with a fastball. He is okay. Scans came back clean. He is now recovering. Hopefully it doesn't take him too long. Luckily, if you watch the replay in slow motion, it looked like his jaw got broke. And that was not the case. He responded to my text late last night or early this morning, one of the two, saying that he is okay. Test came back clean. Good news for him. I don't know if anybody's ever been hit in the face. I have. It was not fun.
Helmet, not face.
Luckily, it was a submariner, and so I wasn't coming in.
Submariner got you in the face?
Coach, this is my first year in 24. This is my first year in AAA, and this is before we played y'all when I went 11 for 11. Right?
Submariner?
Yeah. So this is like beginning of the year, and I was kind of struggling.
Let me throw this wrinkle at you.
It was late in the game. I was hitting like 6th or 7th. Like I was a young guy on an old AAA team, not playing well. And Charlie Montoya was our manager, who was the manager for the Blue Jays most recently 2 years ago, I believe. He got fired.
Was it 2 or was it last year?
Did he get fired in the middle of the year last year?
I think it was middle of the year last year.
So maybe middle of the year last year, right? So he was our manager. He wants me to square to bunt a guy over to third base. Righty submarines in.
Mikey notoriously known for his bunting.
Yeah, very good bunter. Like, I did not get pinch hit for in college for a bunt, but he asked me if I could bunt. Of course, I said yeah. All right.
Anything to help the team.
So I'm like, all right. I'm 24, my first year in AAA. Like, I'm not playing great. Hey, I have to make sure I get this down. Like, I just got to. I was like, just stick your nose in there and just do it, right?
That's like I saw on
So
TV.
I'm like, all right. So I square around the bunt, and I'm like in there. Like, I'm fucking ready. Like, I'm not going to bail out. I'm just going to drop this thing down.
Inseam is literally over the middle of the plate.
Just
Hey.
full 1920s bunt, full square.
This ball comes up and under, and it's coming in. I'm like, oh, this is not good. So I'm coming here the whole way, right? I see it. I back out. Since it's submarine, it's already coming this way. This ball is just chasing me, dude. And it smacks me right here in the eye, like underneath the eye socket. And so, like, hits me like right here. I'm on the ground. I'm like, okay, teeth. I'm not bleeding. All right, jaw's okay. My eye fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
That's where it's at.
I can see.
Not here.
Vision's good.
Or here so much.
Blink twice.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm good. So then they come talk to me, whatever. I end up, got the job done. At least, well, no, there's no out. I think the guy didn't get advanced, but there was a guy on first base. Obviously didn't finish me. Went to the hospital, got x-rays. Had 3 non-displaced fractures in my eye socket. Ooh. But since they're non-displaced, the doctor's like, oh, you can play. Like, nothing's going to happen unless you get hit again. I'm like, well, I've gone 24 years of my life, never been hit in the face. Let me try it. Let me go for it. So 5 days later, I was in. So hopefully it's something similar to situation for Josh. But needless to say, it's a very scary moment. And hopefully that there's no adjustment that he need. Like, hopefully he adjusts back to the gameplay very quickly without being scared. Because remember what happened with Giancarlo Stanton when he got hit in the face? It took him his was a lot worse. He had to wire his jaw shut.
Yeah.
He had the whole deal. He changed his whole stance because of it.
That's that's about the one time where I think people don't realize just a little how crazy you got to be to kind of play baseball. Because the first thing you want to do as a player too, in a way, is like you want to get back in and just in the sense be like, I ain't fucking scared. I'm here still. And you're still in the back of your mind like, man, don't throw this shit at my face again. No,
don't do that.
Hey, baseball's hard.
Look, and bunting's hard, to be honest with you.
I'm saying if the physical baseball is hard.
Yeah, it's hard. And you don't want to get hit in the face. And you don't want to get hit in general, but in the face.
You didn't have the cheek, which is that you didn't have the
cheek
protector.
That wasn't a thing there then.
No, I'm saying Josh.
Yeah, I don't like the cheek. He didn't have one. I don't like that.
I like it.
I know. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like you can use it. I'm not no problem with people. I did personally.
You didn't like the tunnel vision it gave?
No, I personally didn't like wearing it. It wasn't that I don't like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you didn't like tunnel vision feeling it kind of gave you. The only part I didn't like about it is it kind of made one side of the helmet heavy, but that's about it.
And then and I guess I didn't give it a shot to use it, but I don't like wearing eye black because I feel like I can see the eye black. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that. I don't wear sunglasses at the plate.
I don't like eye black either.
Very weird.
No. That's the point.
Well, I mean, it's
aesthetically.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
My brother got hit in the face, broke his jaw, and had to have his jaw wired shut in high school.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, I broke somebody's jaw in high school on accident in baseball. What was a play in the center field, ball in the no man's land. I'm coming in, I'm calling. He's running backwards. I make a sliding catch. He tries to get out the way. I need him right in the jaw.
Infield, outfield?
Broken jaw. No, middle game.
No, I'm saying he was an infielder.
He was the second baseman coming towards the outfield. I was coming in. I called it. I made the catch. Need him right in the face. He, it was in Atlanta. He rode with our family. His family wasn't even there yet. They were on their way. Broke his jaw. Family came. Had to bring him back. I felt bad, but
I bet
that's part of it. Okay, let's get to the show. LSU won last night. 10-run rule, 7 innings. You had a lot of guys pitch. I think the story of last night's game was Gavin Dugas. I think. Oh, I meant to say it's Wednesday, so it's Ask Mikey and Mitch Day.
Mm-hmm.
Put your questions in the chat. Right, we have some questions that came in on Twitter. If you're not able to get on the chat, maybe you're watching us while you're driving and you can't type on the computer or want to be in the chat, go ahead and put it in on Twitter. Make it easier. Do whatever you want to do. But on Twitter, hashtag Ask Mikey and Mitch, or in the YouTube chat.
YouTube chat's easier.
Yeah, YouTube chat's easier. Just put it in the YouTube chat. Make our producer's job easy.
Yeah.
And like I said, 4 minutes, Mike Rooney from D1 Baseball is going to join the show. Let me know, Lloyd, if he gets in there early. Because these D1 baseball guys, man, they are prompt. They are ready to go. They're professionals. Last night, though, you had a plethora of guys throw 1 or 2 innings. Christian Little started. Thatcher Hurd threw some innings. You had Michael Bucknam, who's a freshman, threw some innings. You had Gavin Dugas threw an inning and a third, I believe.
By the way, the Bucknam kid, I don't know if he's thrown yet this year. It was my first time seeing him.
I think he threw a couple times.
My first time seeing him throw. It's so funny. You usually see guys. I mean, we're at the halfway point of the year already, right? And you usually see guys who haven't thrown much on the year. They get in. You just kind of see him struggle with some command, struggle with trying to find their way through the zone. He hit a batter, but he was still able to kind of flip the breaking ball, kind of like how he wanted. And I guess that goes to kind of what we've been the tune of what we've been hearing all year, in the sense of this is the deepest pitching staff I think I've probably ever seen, because you just usually don't see guys who have had that little work on the year. It's not to say anything about his talent, obviously, who's had that little work on the year, be able to come in that spot and kind of get through an inning decently fast.
I agree, right? And I think, and me and Lloyd talked a little bit right before you got here, was at this point in the season, right? The freshman class came in super highly touted, right? Early in the season, you're like, oh, they're freshmen. I don't know if they're going to be able to handle it. Are they going to be able to grow, mature, and be around? I think at this point in the season, the freshmen are no longer freshmen, right? They've been around some things. They've gone through some adversity. They had to they had to perform. Pitching staff, they had to pitch against one of the best offenses in the country. Offensively, you had to face one of the best pitching staffs in the country in the spring, right? So I think they develop a little earlier. They mature a little bit earlier. And I think that by this point of the year, these guys, and now even if they haven't pitched, right, Bucknam and those guys are a little bit of an exception because they don't have a lot of innings. Hey, let's see what you got. Maybe this guy can come out of nowhere and be a shining light, right? A la 2009 Chad Jones. Had 7 innings pitched all year, but pitched some big innings in the postseason. Matty Ott was our best bullpen guy in 2009. He set the LSU record of saves. He was a true freshman in the back end of the bullpen. So my point is, as the season goes and you kind of progress and you get a little bit better and you get a little older, I think that freshman tag goes away, and I think that it's a little bit easier for us to see, okay, this guy's just a good pitcher. This guy's performing. This guy's getting outs. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, super senior, it doesn't matter. As long as this guy can get outs, he can get out. So these are the kind of conversations we're going to have with Mr. Mike Rooney, or Runes, as he likes to put it his Runes is a text message. That's what he said. He responded. He said, "Thanks, Runes." So that's his nickname. I'm gonna call him Runes.
Very big baseball nickname.
That's a big. I mean, I was took. Runes. Jay
Jay
Mitch was
Mitch.
Jay Mitch until he won the most outstanding player. Then we call him Mop. So I mean, there's there's a lot of E's like
So you can't do
Tookie or
Courtney never got one. Never got the baseball nickname.
LC.
No, I got that
I would
from
have
Buddy
called you. I would
Sanji.
have called you LC.
I got my head coach was Puerto Rican, so he called me Payaso, which is clown in Spanish.
That's pretty good. That's actually a very good nickname for you.
I'm surprised that one didn't stick.
Actually, what is it, Payaso? That's your nickname. Payaso.
It's just too long.
All right, we're gonna take it. We're gonna take a 30-second break. Get set up.
Did he write it on the lineup card like that?
Mike's
Tell
in
me
there.
that.
Yes.
Rune's in there. Okay.
Tell me you wrote it on the lineup card like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was nonstop.
Payaso.
We had a great Payaso.
Payaso.
Payaso. We had a great relationship, you could imagine.
I'm sure. I'm sure you
Well,
didn't give me
the
any
highs
issues.
are very high, the lows are very low.
I'm sure you didn't give me any issues. All right, we're gonna take a 30-second break as you get Mike situated. We're gonna be right back. Again, Mike. What?
I wasn't in the team picture.
Yeah. Mike Rooney, baseball analyst. Also, apparently he's a plus tool in charisma. So I can't wait to see
let's
that.
go.
I want
Let's
to be
see.
the scout on that in about 30 seconds. All right, you're watching Mic'd Up. We'll be back in 30 seconds. We go into our break. I want to give a shout out to, like I said, we talk about us getting new partners, new sponsorships all the time. We have a new sponsor. And
I got you. Can you guys hear me?
In the top left corner in the little
Awesome.
little
I think I'm
spinner.
watching a recording. Is that, am I
EFCO
watching the right
Solutions.
thing?
Our friends on at EFCO. They're out of Lafayette.
Oh,
They're a
nice.
civil
Gotcha.
construction company. They specialize in new
Good to see you guys.
multi-family construction.
Yeah, no worries.
Right? If you don't know what civil engineering
Got
is,
it.
civil construction is, it's okay. Probably a lot of people don't understand it. They basically get the land ready to be built vertically, right? I'm giving you a little bit of a construction lesson here. I don't know much about it. I've learned it. I've learned it on the go, right? They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthworks, site cleaning, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. So they do anything that involves dirt, basically, or the earth. And a lot of that gets done before, it has to be done before you are building whatever development you are trying to build. So our friends at EFCO have been fans of the show. They are really, really good people. They're down there in Lafayette. If you know anybody from Lafayette, you do know me. Jay Mitch is from New Iberia. I'll consider that Lafayette's 337 area code.
There you go.
337 area code. They are unbelievable people. They do a very, very, very good job, and they are committed to growing and being the best at what they do. So I just want to give a shout out to our friends at EFCO. I know that they listen. Appreciate you guys. We are going to be great partnerships. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. We are excited to have our next conversation with college baseball analyst. Plus tools in the charisma category, 80 grade and toughness. So we're going to test all of those things on the show. Mike Rooney, a.k.a. Runes, one of the many voices of D1 baseball. They have a podcast together. We're excited to have this conversation. I enjoy talking to all you guys. Welcome on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I've had quite the day on Twitter, compliments of the LSU fan base. So self-inflicted, of course. I did this to myself last year. I inflamed the Tennessee. I'm not like, I don't consider myself like shock jock or anything, but I made a comment last year that had the Tennessee fan base not feeling very good about me. And then today I did it with LSU. The funny thing is the clip,
right?
Like we clip our own podcast and they clip me to be controversial. Like it's my own company clipping me to get worn out. But it's all good, right? Like if it helps the enterprise, I'm for it.
Well, look, listen, I watched it. Obviously, like, listen, we're in the media business. I don't like to consider us media people. We're just having conversations similar to what y'all have, right? Y'all are fans of the game of baseball. You have conversations open for discussion. I watched the interview, especially the LSU part, very intently. And you admittedly, before you came out with your takes, said, I'm just nitpicking here. Like, I'm not saying that it is a huge concern, but if I had to pick a concern, which is a question that a lot of people are asking, and those are some of the things that you mentioned, right? And we're going to get into that, but one of the ones that you mentioned that I believe that is a legitimate concern, right? Because it hasn't been very good the last few weeks, is their Sunday starter, the third starter at LSU, right? Thatcher Hurd came in, very highly touted. He was supposed to be that guy. I still think he's going to be that guy, but right now he hasn't pitched up to his capabilities. His abilities on the mound right now, or his performance on the mound, hasn't matched his talent. I think that's going to come, right? It's just one of those things that you have to go through and get better. He's going to be better for it. But as far as the Sunday rotation spot, because LSU's had 3 series and 2 of the 3 they lost on the Sunday. What is your take on that? How do you fix that? Do you see a Johnny Holstaff? I mean, you're this weekend, Christian Little's getting that Saturday start. What's your opinion on that third starter?
Yeah, I think, Jay, the one thing we know about Jay Johnson is, this dude, if he sleeps.
I don't think he does. I do not think he does that.
Yeah. He gets up, he wakes up thinking about, the Sunday starter at LSU, and he goes to bed thinking about that, right? This dude thinks about it nonstop. And I think LSU's offense is so good. If they can have a Sunday starter that does, right now, Thatcher Hurd basically lit the stadium on fire on Sunday. The offense never had a chance. They just, when we were in Round Rock, we saw Riley Cooper. I'm a huge Riley Cooper fan. I didn't mind that idea because at least you're going to have a chance. Now, Iowa really took advantage of some things with the inside game against Riley Cooper, and that Trey Morgan was in left field at the time, and that probably colors my judgment on some stuff too. But Thatcher Hurd was so good on the West Coast last year, and then this fall when Jay wasn't telling us, oh, he's a lock for Sunday, you're kind of like, oh man, looking back, that was a clue that it's not clicking for him. So I mean, I don't know, Garrett Edwards has been great. They just need somebody to not explode the game on Sundays.
I agree, and I think that Christian Little has struggled a little bit in the back end of the bullpen lately. Early in the season, he was great. Maybe moving him to that starter role and saying, hey, listen, you don't have to be absolutely perfect for this inning. You can grind out a few innings. Maybe that's better. Maybe that changes his mentality as a starter, and he's able to get you 5. I'll tell you what, a dark horse for me, at least on our side, is Griffin Herring. I know he's a freshman, and he hasn't thrown a ton, but he looked the last 2 times he's been out have been high leverage situations. He's been very impressive. And the rumor is the longer he pitches in a game, the better he gets, and he's able to sustain the velocity that he's got. So maybe over time, as he continues to get more comfortable, he ends up being that lefty or that third starter. You also mentioned the infield defense, and I think that's the one where everybody started coming at you, right? I think that's the one that you stepped on the ant pile a little bit there. And they're the number 1 team defensively as far as fielding percentage. Obviously, you mentioned the range of Tommy White, and you mentioned the range of Gavin Dugas. I haven't, as a fan and obviously as a baseball guy, I haven't seen the range become an issue. I do agree with you, though, that when Trey Morgan is at first base, the defense is significantly better. What's your take on that? I know you talk a little about the small ball, and you talk about how that could give them issues. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, I just, so Aaron Fitt, it's funny you say that, Mikey. Aaron Fitt called me out on that on our podcast. It didn't make the clip, of course, but, it's I knew that LSU was fielding well. I didn't realize number 1 in the country. But I would say that, nobody can look me in the eye and say that, hey, their infield defense is fine with Jared Jones at first compared to Trey Morgan at first. Trey Morgan's the best defensive first baseman in the country, hard stop, right? So he goes to left field, and Jared Jones is a big kid. But, and Dugas is one of the great stories in college baseball. I would trust him with anything, but he hasn't played infield in 3 years. Right. And then, I love Jordan Thompson, but he's got 35 career errors. He's been a very streaky defender. And, Tommy White's sure-handed, but no range. And so I saw Iowa exploit that. Hey, here's the other thing. Brady Neal's a true freshman catcher. Iowa pressured LSU with running game, first and third offense, bunt for a hit, those types of things. Is that a formula that is foolproof against LSU? Of course not. But I saw it work with my own eyes, and if we're nitpicking LSU, I think a team that could, again, if you're Jay Johnson, you got to be thinking about this. What if NC State 2021 shows up here? What if Michigan 2019 shows up here? What if Notre Dame 2022 shows up here? Are we ready for all of that? We're going to be more talented than them, no doubt about it, but are we ready for the way they play? Now the other question is, are they ready for LSU? The answer is probably no, but, if we're nitpicking, that's what we're talking about.
Mike, you spoke about the offense that LSU possesses. I wouldn't say in question, but the one spot where we've seen somewhat of a revolving door is the leadoff spot. If you woke up tomorrow as the head coach of LSU, What would you do with that spot?
Man. I mean, I might hit Dylan Cruz there just because I want him to get as many at bats as possible. I mean, what Dylan Cruz is doing right now is such a joke. Like, I've tried it. You guys are college baseball experts. Obviously, you lived it. But I've tried to explain to people, like, hey, if you're an accountant and I came up to you and said, hey, if you're the best accountant in the world for the next 4 months, I'll give you $9 million. Like, you wouldn't sleep for 4 months.
Right. And
And this dude is like hitting 5, whatever he's hitting. So. You hate to eliminate RBI situations for him, but if you don't have a true blue leadoff hitter and he's a good runner and he runs great at bats, I might consider that. I might consider Gavin Dugas too, because he same thing, like, sets a great tone for your team. I think what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't like force a leadoff hitter and then you're pushing these really good hitters back. So yeah, maybe Dylan Cruz. I don't know. That's kind of weird, but maybe.
So, as I've heard it, you are not sold on LSU in tight situations and tight games and pressure-packed moments. If you saw them cracking in those spots, where would you look at first, and what do you think would be the breaking point for them in games that are played in that manner?
Yeah, I think I would rephrase that a little bit, Jared. I would say that I just wish LSU was playing more of those, kind of get your heart rate up games. What I'm worried about LSU is they're just beating everyone to a pulp. And even several of their losses were really lopsided. So, and like Tennessee, those were tight games, but I didn't feel like Tennessee was playing great. I think those were tight games because Tennessee's really talented, but Tennessee's just kicking the ball around. They don't know who they are offensively. I think the best version of Tennessee's 2 months away because of all the turnover in the youth. So I think, if I were to nitpick LSU, it would be the infield defense. Like, are they going to really turn a double play in a tight spot in a 1-run game in the 8th inning? I don't know. We haven't seen them have to do that yet. The bullpen, the roles are not clearly defined. What if they're in game 3 of a super regional and somehow somebody got to Ty Floyd and it's 1-1 and you're playing game 3 of a super. We don't know who the starter is. Let's say Garrett Edwards already pitched a bunch that weekend. Maybe Herring's now the starter. So who's throwing 6 through 9 in game 3 of a super regional? I mean, Riley Cooper could do it. Like, he's as cool as a customer as it gets. It wouldn't spook him at all. But, again, I say that, guys, I could pick any team in the country and nitpick that same stuff. The only team maybe I could not nitpick in that way is Wake Forest. Kind of has all those ducks in a row right now, but they're as good as they are. Their upside is not as overwhelming as LSU's.
Right, and to be honest with you, I do agree with you in that sense of, like, hey, if everything goes to hell and you've used a bunch of guys and you're kind of grinding this thing out and you need somebody to close that last game out, like, who has that guy? Nobody's really stepped up. I tell you, a guy that you really probably should keep a bigger eye on, and I think you're going to start seeing him throw a lot more, is Gavin Guidry. Right, he threw 2 in the third inning and a third last night, struck out 3. Jay has come on the show a few times and talked about how much he likes his stuff. He's a mid-90s guy on the mound as far as velo goes. So he's a guy that if you can see him start to progress, maybe you can see him some in high leverage situations. The problem with college baseball, it's better than it was when we were there, right? But the bullpen is the biggest separator from the talent and SEC baseball and AA, AAA, right? Like, the top tier talent, the starters and the lineups are all super talented, but it's the depth of the bullpen. So that's always going to be the question, right? You talked about Wake Forest. You've talked about some of these other teams. We mentioned Tennessee. LSU plays South Carolina this weekend. South Carolina, starting tomorrow. South Carolina is the number 6 team in the country. They are a surprise to everybody. I don't think anybody thought that they'd be there. They're taking the same medicine that Texas A&M took last year. Hey, we're going to go get these guys in the portal and we're going to hit on them. And they're going to hit. They're going to be an older group, and they're going to put up some numbers and give us a shot. What have you seen from South Carolina, and is what they're doing, is that sustainable?
It's a great question. I mean, the one thing that's different about South Carolina this year than over the last couple of years is they're healthier on the mound, and they're really good on the mound. Like, South Carolina's got a legit rotation. Nobody's got a Paul Skeens, but South Carolina's rotation can kind of trade punches with anybody. And they've kind of cobbled together a pretty reliable bullpen. The one thing about their offense is I worry that they're a little bit power dependent. Like, if they don't hit home runs,
and they generate offense. But I would say it's a very good team. They've got a million hit by pitches, and so it's a team that's got a little swagger and toughness, and you can tell they're very connected. They had a really good series with Missouri. They didn't blink at all. So again, I think it's a really fun series because
We're going to see, we're going to learn how good South Carolina is, and it's another opportunity for us, like anything we're nitpicking on LSU.
Are those real things, or are those just, they're a perfect team and we're just nitpicking?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the Alabama deal in football. Like they're beating everybody by a whole bunch. Oh, what's going to happen when they get in? Like it's easy to nitpick, and that's what we're supposed to do, right? Like you're supposed to try to find a flaw on these teams that really haven't shown many flaws. Like that's what our business is, right? And we talk a lot about SEC baseball because we're in it, and I believe it's the premier baseball conference in the country, right? ACC's been pretty good, right? Wake Forest has been a surprise. They've been, I think they're number 2 or 3 in the country now.
Number 2, yeah.
What have you seen as far as college baseball goes, right? Like last year, a couple years ago, you saw a lot of some of these mid-major schools have a lot of guys, right? They're very good. They're competitive. Southern Miss made that run. There's national seed, all these things. But then with the portal, all these guys get transferred out and they go to these bigger schools. And I'm not seeing as many of these smaller schools make the noise. Are you seeing that around college baseball?
Yeah, the portal makes it harder for the small teams because they get a good player through the recruiting process and then they develop them, and then next thing you know, he's at a Power 5 program. But I would tell you guys, the separator for the smaller schools are Boston College is a Power 5. I get it, but it's arguably the northernmost Power 5, and they've got 3 grad transfers who are fifth-year kids on their pitching staff, which is always a problem for them, who are Division III transfers. But these are kids that have pitched a ton of college baseball. They don't throw 95, but you're not going to get a fastball and a fastball count. They can cross-count you with anybody. They're 23, 24 years old. So we're seeing some of the kind of non-Power 4, because it's really Power 4 in college baseball, if we're being honest.
Right.
We're seeing some of those teams just go to the older kids and try to run a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds at you. Hey, Texas State did that last year and almost popped in Omaha. UConn has a nice formula going that way. I think the other part of your question, Mikey, is, hey, there's less room in professional baseball now than before. There's less teams. There's a smaller draft. And so the players, the caliber of player we're seeing in college baseball now has never been better. I mean, think about what you guys saw for Tennessee and LSU. Did anybody throw a fastball below 93 miles an hour?
Nope.
I mean, it was a joke. It was like 95 to 100, like you're watching a big league game. So, like Dylan Cruz, what's he doing in college, right? It's like, but hey, there's less room in pro baseball right now, and I think it's a really good thing for college baseball.
You mentioned Dylan Cruz, you've mentioned Paul Skeens, right? Obviously, we get the privilege of watching these kids play every week, midweek games, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. I've got to watch Dylan for 3 years. We get to see Paul for this 1 year, and he's going to be gone, right? From what I've seen from Paul, he may be the best pitcher talent-wise, stuff-wise, maybe ever to come out of college baseball. And that's a bold statement. I know Strasburg was kind of the guy, but watching Strasburg, because Strasburg he was a junior when I was a freshman. And so I watched him, and then watching Skeens, I think Skeens has better stuff right now as we're speaking today, right? And Dylan Cruz, to me, is the best offensive player to come through LSU. I think that when it's all said and done, he's going to have some of the best numbers. He has no business being in college. My question to you is, you're the Pittsburgh, and I've had my thoughts on this, on how it could go either way. If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, are you taking Dylan Cruz 1-1, or are you taking Paul Skeens 1-1?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're feeling really good that you could choose, right? Like, it's awesome. And I think if you're the Nationals who pick second, you're like, hot damn, pardon my French, but it's like, yeah, I'll take whatever. Pirates, knock yourselves out. We'll take whatever you don't like, right? Right. Those are 2 1-1s. And so if I was the Pirates, I'd take Dylan Cruz, because I just think the math tells you that taking the position player is it's lower risk and higher upside. But if I was the Nationals and Paul Skeens got to me at 2, I'm taking him in a hot second. Like, I'm not even blinking at that, because, it's like the Andy Bennis comp, the, Mark Pryor comp, the Strasburg comp. I mean, yeah, and he's an incredible kid. Yeah, heck yeah, I love Paul Skeens.
And I may be overthinking this, and I want to give you my opinion on this, or my positioning, and tell me if you think that I'm off base on this, right? So, and I could be wrong because the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they have not proven that they are trying to win baseball games in Major League Baseball. Like, they can say they are, but they haven't, shown me anything. But with that said, they have three specifically, maybe four unbelievably young, talented guys that they have for a really long time. You have O'Neal Cruz at shortstop, who's a generational guy. He's 6'7". You have Hayes at third base, who's a Gold Glover. You have in center field, you have Brian Reynolds, who came in from Vandy. Now they're trying to trade him. Now they're bringing up these conversations about having another conversation about extending him. Let's say they extend him. So you have these three superstar young guys. Do you say, okay, maybe these guys are ready to start competing and getting us to the next level, and maybe we need a number one ace? And for me, that would be the reason why they would take Skeens first. I'm with you, though. I do think that Dylan Cruz is the guy. Am my thought process off base? Am I overthinking the GM role a little bit there?
I think not overthinking it, but I think they just look at it differently. Like the teams when they have their analysts, they just always take the position player because the math tells them that you take the position player. And the Pirates really aren't settled in the outfield, in my opinion, outside of Reynolds, who you mentioned. Like Travis Swaggerty, who the kid they drafted first round out of, I think, South Alabama a few years ago. He had a good spring, but he's been injured a lot. But the Nationals are the team that they will buck the trend and they will take a pitcher 1-1. So I think if it was flipped, I think if the Nationals were picking first, I think you're right. I think the Nationals would take Skeens and then the Pirates would take Cruz second. But I think, I just think the way these teams are wired with, all these analytics and algorithms, they're always wired to take the position player.
Bringing it back to college baseball, we're talking about seeing a Dylan Cruz playing pretty much every day. We're talking about seeing a Paul Skeens throw pretty much every Friday. On the national stage right now, who else do you see that could possibly be giving them, I guess, dark horse competition for best player in college baseball right now, or even maybe jumping them in that 1-1 spot?
Yeah, they're their own tier I think it's not close really, but I would tell you, like, as far as like fun players like Golden Spikes, that type of stuff. Yeah. I mean, Jack Caglione at Florida has cooled off, but it's still, the dude's going to hit 30 home runs. Right. And he touches 98 every time out. So he's a really fun story. The thing about Wake Forest that's interesting is they've got, this incredible rotation. All three of their rotation, arms have an ERA under 2. They've got a closer in Caminasi. They've got that third baseman Wilkin, who's got like 16 home runs. They've got the first baseman Kurtz, who's 6'5", 235, and he's a big threat.
Where are these guys coming from? Where are these guys coming from?
Wake Forest recruits up and down the eastern seaboard. Okay. Wilkins, Florida. Kurtz is from Philly. He's from Pennsylvania. It's crazy, but I mean, I don't know. Like, nobody's got Skeens and Cruz though, right? Like that's unique. And even like the next part of the draft, you're talking about like the shortstop at Grand Canyon, Jacob Wilson, who's Jack Wilson's son. You're talking about Jacob Gonzalez at Ole Miss. But again, like, you can't take those two kids before Skeens and Cruz.
Right.
What's the deal with Ole Miss? What's Ole Miss is? I mean, now I don't want to say much because last year they stunk and then they didn't stink anymore, and then it can happen. But like, what is going on over there?
You guys know, I don't care. Ole Miss has got a legit offense. Like in the non-conference, we were talking about, hey, is that one of the best offenses in the country? But you guys know, like, when you can't pitch, then the offense starts to get. Yeah. Like, okay, we got to score 10 to win. Right. And now everybody's trying to go 4 for 3, and now a great offense becomes an average offense. And I think that's what's going on at Ole Miss. It's too many pitching injuries. They're struggling so bad on the mound. And, by the time their offense gets going, the game is already out of hand. And it just, you just can't win that way.
I mean, I agree. I lost my train of thought there. But
hey, it's jarring. But think about that, guys. This is the SEC, right? As of a week ago, A&M, who was a Final Four team last year, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, who won the last 2 national titles, they're 1-17 in the league.
Right.
After 2 weeks, you're like,
it's wild.
Meanwhile, nuts. South Carolina's 6th in the country, and Kentucky's got 1 loss or 2 losses in the SEC. Yeah. Like, it's just.
And not only were they supposed to be good based off of what they've done recently, like they brought back players too.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's that you watch Mississippi State play, and you're like, you line that roster up and just say to coaches, hey, you can have any of those players. They're like, I'll have 15 of them, right? Like everybody would recruit these kids. But for whatever reason, and again, when you get hurt on the mound, I think the two biggest things is when you have pitching injuries and if you have bad catching, your whole season can implode. And I think that you see that across college baseball. The teams that are struggling, it's either an issue at catcher or just playing catch in general, or you're struggling on the mound.
Playing catch, I like that. Playing catch in general.
One more chance. I don't want to get you in trouble with LSU fans any more than you already are. But
yes, you do.
Yeah, well,
that didn't seem very sincere.
You're lucky that the LSU women's basketball team took off for you to have all the attention on you.
Oh, that's
you're lucky that you're not dialed into Tiger droppings every day.
Yeah, don't go there.
Thank you. I'll let Kendall do that.
Yes, but my question is, you talked about having possibly, it seems as if LSU will have the number 1 pick and number 2 pick in the draft. If LSU doesn't win the national championship, is that considered a failure of the season?
Ooh, man,
that's going to be a massive talking point.
Yeah, I think that's hey, first of all, 1 and 2's never been done. And this is from your guys' era where the highest drafted teammates ever are Garrett Cole in 2011 went 1, and then Bauer went 3. So we've never had 1 and 2. I would say this, like if you think of the last 3 completed seasons, UCLA was number 1 in 19. Michigan took them down in a super. Arkansas was unbelievable in 2021. NC State took them down in a super. And then, last year with Tennessee getting taken out by Notre Dame in a super. I just don't think if you get to Omaha, you've had a great season. I think saying a season that ends in Omaha is a bad year is disingenuous. It's so hard to get there. But I think if LSU doesn't win the national title this year, Jay Johnson will feel like, man, that was a missed opportunity because we had a national title team. Now, whether you can be hot in the tournament and stay healthy and all that stuff's a different conversation, but you will feel like there was a chance and you missed it.
So do you feel like if the team, in your mind, if you're getting to Omaha, it's a good season, maybe you missed a chance. But if you get to Omaha and you go 0-2, is that a different conversation?
I mean, that's really disappointing. Like, I think that's a lot of sleepless nights. I just think, like, if you're Jay Johnson and the trajectory he's got LSU baseball on, it's the old Tiger Woods thing in majors, right? Like, didn't Tiger Woods say, hey, my goal in a major is just keep giving myself chances because if I give myself a chance, I'm going to win a boatload of them. Like, I think that's what Jay Johnson's going to do at LSU, and then he's going to win, however many national titles he's going to win, but he's going to just keep getting the Tigers to Omaha, and then – look at Florida in the decade you guys played in. Like, Florida went to Omaha 7 times in 10 years. That's a joke. Like, it's not that easy. Right. But they did it. They only won 1 of them. But I think that's the thing. Like, there's so many things that can trip you up in Omaha. There's so many things that got to go right. You just got to keep getting there, and then the team that's going to win it's going to win it.
The one that they won hurts a little bit too. That one hurts the LSU fans as well. So
I hear you.
Just keep pouring salt in the wound, but it's okay.
Gosh, I'm having a bad day. Gosh,
no, I'm just messing.
Gracious.
Look, I appreciate your time.
Contact info off the screen.
Yeah. One more quick question before you go. I know you're busy, man. Y'all have a podcast that y'all are about to start doing a little bit, but
all good.
We spoke a little bit about the SEC. We spoke about some of these teams that are kind of some surprises. I mean, there's a gauntlet, right? Like LSU started with A&M, who was a preseason top 10 team, top 5 team. You had Tennessee, who's 10. You had Arkansas, who's top 5. We played them. Now you have to go to South Carolina, who nobody thought was going to be ranked. You go to Kentucky, or you play Kentucky at home the next weekend. There's a gauntlet outside of LSU right now. And is there a challenger to winning the SEC? Obviously, LSU's still not in the lead, right? They have 3 losses in the SEC. They've won 3 series, but they haven't gotten swept. Is there a challenger that you think they could maybe run away with it based off schedule, or based off who they've played or who they haven't played?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, in the beginning of the year, we were kind of saying, hey, Florida, Tennessee, LSU are the 3 best teams. And now LSU has separated themselves from those 2. And then I think Kentucky and South Carolina are very, very good. I think they're Omaha caliber clubs, but do I think they could win the SEC over LSU? I don't think so. Yeah. Unless South Carolina, it would be mandatory for them to win the series this weekend. And, I don't know. Can they do that? We'll see. But I think I could see Florida going on a run, just tearing off a bunch of wins and giving, kind of putting some pressure on LSU. That would be the team. I think Florida is so talented. They're the one team that could press LSU, but they're a little messy right now. Like, I don't know. I kind of think it's LSU in the field right now.
I agree. And I'm not biased. I'm trying not to be. I'm trying not to be biased. Before I let you go, you mentioned the South Carolina LSU series. You said it's mandatory for South Carolina to win it. What's your prediction on this weekend? Does LSU take the series? Do they sweep the South Carolina upset? What do you have?
I think LSU wins the series, but South Carolina wins a game.
What game do they win?
I would say
Thursday and get everybody upset.
So South Carolina is going to throw their ace, Sanders, and LSU's throwing Skeens on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They'll bump him up. Well, he threw Thursday last week, so that's perfect. Yeah. So Skeens will beat Sanders, I think. I mean, the easy answer is Sunday. Hey, Sanders is a tough kid. Like he could trade punches with Skeens, but I just think I don't know. I'm really curious to see if South Carolina is ready for this Thursday night. I think they'll get themselves into the series, but I mean, as electric as it was last week for you all, man, I think tomorrow night's even more electric. Like Tennessee kind of was limping in a little bit. I mean, I know they swept A&M, but they're not really the same swaggy team they were last year. South Carolina is digging themselves.
Yeah.
Like that place is going to be fired up. I can't wait to see tomorrow.
And that's
night.
a great stadium to play at. Now it's a dangerous stadium to play at. Now LSU they're offensively they're very talented. South Carolina obviously but that stadium is a great place to hit. So anything can really happen there. Like poke a couple balls, he gets caught up in the jet stream, he gets out of there. Like I'm with you. I think it's going to be an electric series. We got to play there in 2009 when they opened that stadium, and it was awesome. It was one of my favorite places that we got to play. So I'm with you. Y'all got anything else, boys? Runes, I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you coming on the show. Anytime you want to come back on, we'd love to have conversation. I love talking baseball, even Major League Baseball. Baseball. We'll talk ball as the season goes on.
Next time I step on myself on Twitter, I'll give you a call. We can maybe.
We'll just be watching for it instead.
Yeah, next time I'm gonna have you on before you step on yourself, so you don't have to worry about that. It's not just I don't want to take advantage of your missteps.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I
Good to
appreciate
see
you,
you
man.
guys.
You too.
Good stuff.
You too.
Thanks.
Yep. 2 things. 1, he's a great interview. 2, I'm sweating my ass off in here.
I know.
It is hot.
It is a little warm.
It's cooling down on this side.
How is it cooling down on your side, not on my side?
The vent.
Boy, it's
Because Lloyd's got all the vents pointing towards him.
I mean, I am sweating.
It was, my legs were sweating earlier. I don't know what.
Runes is a good interview, dude.
Great dude. I'm glad.
Hey, plus on the charisma.
He's got it.
Plus on the charisma. I have to agree with the scouting report.
And I'm glad he didn't feel like he was stepping into a trap. I'm glad we talked.
Oh no, I knew I wasn't gonna. I mean,
but I'm sure he had a little bit in the back of his mind. It was probably like, this could be.
Yeah.
Are we doing first take here or what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, he responded quickly to my DM on Twitter. Like he knew. Like I wasn't. We're baseball dudes. Like we're not gonna like hammer him about it, And look, he took it well. Like hey, maybe defense, but like I get what he's saying, right? The names that you have in the defense aren't. Oh man,
defensive minded.
They don't put you at a lot of confidence in you, like, oh, just based off the name. But if you watch what they've done, okay, like they're pretty good. And what Jordan Thompson's been doing this year, like I know he said he's made 35 errors in his career. He did also mention in their podcast.
If you just look outside of having Trey, and Trey hasn't played first base every day, right? Outside of having Trey at first base, if you just looked at quote unquote the back of their baseball cards, one would only say, well, sooner or later it's going to get there. Meaning, like Tommy didn't play every day at third last year.
Right. Jordan
struggled a little bit through the middle of the year last year. Gavin's literally picking up second base for pretty much the first time ever. So you would think sooner or later this is not going to continue to go just based off of that. But that hasn't been the case.
Hasn't been the case, and I think that he mentioned it like JT Jordan Thompson went 17 straight games last year without making an error. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Said he was streaky. And I agree with him, but last year, obviously, we knew he had some injuries. His knee was kind of banged up early in the year. He felt better towards the end of the year. I think you're seeing the way he's playing his best having his best offensive season and his best defensive season of his career in the best time that we need, the most important time, which is we thought was going to happen, right? You just didn't know if it was going to happen, but we thought it was going to happen. And so I've been good with the defense, and I don't disagree with him about Jared Jones, but I do think that he's okay over there.
I think he's more than serviceable.
Yeah.
You just really hadn't seen enough of him, and I do think. Like, I truly, truly do think, like, as the season goes, do I think that they are better at the first base spot when Jared Jones is in? No.
Or are they better in the lineup?
Not only better in the lineup, but you might possibly have a better team defensively all around with him at the first base spot.
Right.
So that's possible as one to see kind of as the season goes.
Yeah, but look, the back end of the bullpen is
Because guys like, I mean, we obviously, you and I both didn't play the infield, but it's a different thing when you feel the ball and you look up and throw and it's literally like a mountain of a man standing there. You feel like you can throw the ball anywhere, right? And that's a different feeling. And I'm not saying Trey's a little dude, but it's not the same, and we know that, right?
Right.
So I think something like that, those things can kind of play as time goes.
And he's right about the back end of the bullpen, right? Like
100%.
And look, right, Garrett Edwards, I think is the closer, right? I think he's earned that right. I think he's deserves it. I think he's going to be fine, right? I think he showed you last weekend that he can pitch in big moments when the game's tight and it's nervy. He can pitch, right? He can get the outs. But if we are exhausting guys because our other two starters don't go deep in games, and you get to that game 3 in a super, what's going to happen? That was a great point that he made. Now, I think that equalizer, their version of Chad Jones, could be Gavin Guidry. I know he's not a lefty, but a guy who doesn't have a ton of it now. He's throwing a little earlier, and he's a little more polished than we thought.
Here's the
Chad
thought process, I guess, when they get to Sunday. Because like at the end of the day, let's be honest, like you're sitting here and you don't have Grant Taylor, right? He's out for the year. Do you think that they could possibly be sitting here and saying, all right, how about this? Because we're not sold on what we've seen from him in the back end of the bullpen, but he's got too much talent to be throwing 5 innings, 4 innings on Tuesday or on Wednesday. How about we start Christian on Sunday? How about we let him go out there for as long as possible, as long as he can stay up there, and hopefully we still have Riley Cooper, Gavin Guidry.
Right.
Lefty that just threw.
Griffin
Herring. And then obviously Garrett Edwards at the back end of the bullpen. That sounds like a very good formula on a Sunday, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So maybe that's the route that they're going right now. Hopefully that if any of those guys throw on a Friday, they would be able to bounce back and throw on Sunday. Maybe if they threw a little bit on Saturday, they'd be able to bounce back and give you a back-to-back. But maybe they're thinking, we just can't waste him and have him just throwing midweek games. Obviously, he was, getting work in yesterday. But he has to throw on the weekends. This is how we do it unless we can get Thatcher back to form.
Right. I think that's the big thing.
That's the huge thing.
Unless you can get
that team. We know this. That team really, really, it clicks a whole lot different if you got a guy who was easily a Friday night guy a year ago and him getting back to form and being a Sunday guy right now and doing what he was able to do last year, pitching like he was able to pitch last year. If you can get him back to form there, you're stealing a spot on Sundays.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens with Christian Little this weekend, right? This is his first start in the SEC here at LSU. So
I'm interested to see also what happens too, because I was kind of surprised, I guess, if you will, that Thatcher did not start the game last night.
He didn't pitch well though either.
No, he didn't pitch well, but I'm saying in the sense of, well, if he didn't start the game last night, does he come out of the bullpen at all this weekend?
Possibly. And maybe they flip their roles. Maybe it's like, but then maybe that's what Jay wants to see last night. Hey, is he gonna how is he gonna react coming out of the pen? Like, is he gonna pitch better? Is he gonna be a little bit easier?
And he had a clean inning too to start too. So like those are things he might have been looking at too.
Right. I'm pulling up the box score right now.
I think one of the 2 runs was scored off of him.
There were. So Christian Little, here's how it went down.
Him being Thatcher, obviously.
Christian Little went inning and 2/3 last night. Gave up 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, struck out 3. Like, not terrible, right? The 1 run, you don't want to give up, whatever. Will Hammers threw an inning.
The hits were some very iffy hits.
Yeah, 1 hit, yeah.
Well, the hit, it was literally like a high fly ball to left field. It bounced about 3 inches from the line, like in play.
Oh.
Like no man's land. Not like one hop the wall, like no man's land.
Will Hammers threw well. I think Will Hammers is going to be the guy like when you need a guy to throw strikes,
eat up some innings, eat up some outs.
Mm-hmm. Gavin Guidry, inning in the 3rd, 3 punchies, no hits, no runs, no earned, no walks, no nothing, right? He was the best. He looked the best. Thatcher, 1 inning pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 walks. The 2 walks is a concern.
So I literally intently kind of watched him pitch yesterday.
And Bryce Collins, he went 1 1/3 through struck 2. Like
I intently watched.
I
intently watched that
Hurd conversation that stinks.
Well, listen, I intently watched him pitch yesterday, and it seemed
everybody else is dominating.
It seemed to me, if you watched him throw, like if you get off the numbers and you just looked at what you saw, it felt like you watched someone that was a little pissed off. Not pissed off in a way like, let me go stick it up someone's ass. Pissed off in like I can't believe I'm in this spot right now. It seemed like it was almost like nonchalantly, like he started the inning off and he's throwing breaking balls well, and he's landing them, he's throwing them how he wants. The next thing you know, a couple guys gets on, and it kind of just seemed like, all right, whatever, I'm just gonna go through the motions in a bit. And I'm not sure that that's what he did. I'm just saying that's what it seemed like from my perspective, like as if he didn't really bear down and try to get through the way he should have.
And look, and that's when you're known to be a starter, and that's what you have been this year. Coming out the pen maybe a little different, especially because you've been struggling. So it's like, well, shit, I've been struggling. I got to go out there and show them. So like, baseball is a very mental pressure game. There's a lot of it, and they put a lot of pressure on yourself, right? I'm very aware of that.
Yeah,
I did that my entire career. I hated it, right? A part of the reason why I'm sitting here today, right, is because you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and when you, especially guys who want it so bad, they try to do more than they need to try. Right. Like, you don't need to try harder. That's why baseball was so frustrating, is because, like, I grew up playing football and basketball and doing all these other sports that, like, when I did something wrong in football or basketball, I would just play harder. Like, if I missed a shot or turned the ball over, I would play harder. And I would just play better defense. Football, if I did something, I would just play harder. Baseball can't do it that way.
Ooh,
playing harder makes it
that
worse.
way. Yeah.
Right? And so, like, trying harder makes it worse. And it's like, you just got to trust that you're putting in the right work. And that's the message that I would give to Thatcher, is like, trust that you're doing the right stuff, right? Continue to work, continue to do it. You're too good for it and for you not to figure it out. But if you get too far in your head, stuff like this happens, right? So I think maybe this break for him could be good. And maybe go back to that midweek starting role for a little bit to try to get your feet back underneath you.
The trick, or I guess say the challenge for him is, and every baseball player goes through this thing, is how long does it going to take you to get over the struggles and get back to thinking, I'm the best fucking person out here, and no one or anyone can tell me any different. Watch me go and show you. The best ones, whether they go 0 for 20 or 0 for 2, they're still thinking that every single time.
Right.
And that, just like you said, you don't end up putting yourself in a pressure filled spot. You end up it's like you have the shortest of memories, and you just go out like the bad never ever happened. And how long and how quickly can you do it? The best ones can do it like that.
And that's what you were probably hoping to see, or Jay was probably hoping to see last night, right? That
I think that's what every coach hopes to see, but it
right,
doesn't.
No, but
it doesn't go that way. And that's why I said, how long will you sit there and, in a way, maybe kind of feel sorry for yourself? In a way, maybe kind of questioning yourself, instead of just saying,
thinking, is it my
to
bad?
hell with it, man. I'm here.
Fuck it.
Yeah, literally. That's what it gets to.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. Like, I just want to see how Jay's gonna how to navigate it, right? Like, it's almost like the opposite of last year. Last year you have so many guys that you can put in the bullpen, but you had to piece together the starting role. Right now you have 2 guys in your starters this year. You would hope you have 3, but you have multiple guys that are talented enough to start. Last year you didn't have options. This year, how are we gonna manage the bullpen? And, like, how are you going to manage the back end of the ball? I think he's done a very good job of it. And they haven't pitched bad. They have not pitched bad. I'm not saying that it's anything to, like, panic over or worry over. But I'm just saying, like, if it comes down to it and you use some of these guys, when you run out of guys to use, like, who do you do? Now, that's worst case scenario. That's not something that always happens. Look, Garrett Edwards theoretically could close 3 days in a row. Throw an inning, right? Like, hopefully you don't need him to close all 3 days. But he can pitch at least 2 out of the 3 games on the weekend. And that's what you're banking on. And then you're just banking on getting the ball to him.
Do you think that this weekend was maybe a test case to see that they go back to what they did last year for the 3rd game?
Maybe. I think that's an option, right? Like, I think
you have so many arms, like you said. If they're able to, all right, let's do it, because they had essentially 2 starters on Sunday last year. You had 2 guys that were,
and those 2 guys are still on the team, by the way. So, like,
it's not broken.
And maybe they do start pitching Sammy Dutmore. Maybe he gets an opportunity to pitch, longer innings. But I think that you're going to find out this Saturday what Christian Little looks like as a starter, right? I'm looking at South Carolina's
weather.
Well, not weather, but you can look at the weather. Did you know what the weather is going to be in South Carolina? I hope it's not nasty like it's going to be in Augusta.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard from some of the people in the
chat. It's going to be cold?
That there's a chance that they may not finish the series because of the weather.
Is it going to be cold?
Well, it's going to be cold in Augusta, South Carolina. It's not too far away.
Not too far.
Where's their campus?
Columbia.
Let's go Columbia, South Carolina weather.
That would be what you would Google. That's how that works.
For the weekend.
What is it?
Oh,
Produce
nasty.
it, baby.
Thursday,
Fine.
85. Slight chance of rain, 20%.
What's the wind?
Need a little wind here. It's blowing at top 7 miles an hour.
Okay, so not much.
Not much wind. Friday is when it gets a little dicey. 70 degrees, 70% chance of rain. Wind blowing in at 11, depending on where the stadium is. And Saturday, 100% chance of rain, 50 degrees. What sounds, good luck, Tiger.
Now, here's the deal on the Saturday part. Is like they don't have the Sunday travel restrictions. So
Oh, you might be drawing some rain turtles out there.
they're gonna try to finish that game out. Now it depends on when the rain comes. Hopefully, you know how weather works. Hopefully it comes in early and ends and the game's fine. Whatever. You don't never know. But whole point of this conversation
Hopefully it just plays right around the stadium.
What's that?
So hopefully it just plays.
Yeah,
and goes right
just
around the
put
stadium.
the bubble in the stadium. That happens all the time in football. For some reason, they just put the invisible bubble on there and it just ran.
Oh, look at all this rain. That's all in the forecast. It just didn't want to hit here at 7.
Why does the radar say there's rain, but there's no rain here?
Yeah, y'all
no
told me
rain.
it was going to rain.
There's no rain.
So I got drunk last
Why is the
night.
grounds crew in my dugout for the first 6 innings and nothing's happening right now?
Oh, I mean, that's highschoolfootballpractice.com where you're like, oh, fuck yeah, we're not going to have to do anything. Oh, it's just going to not rain all day.
Yeah.
It's here, though. It's
the way
all
it
around
works.
us.
That's the way it works. I mean, I've had rain
Next to me.
next to us in the stadium and not rain in the stadium. That's just how it works. Part of it. But I'm looking at South Carolina's offensive numbers. Boy, they're impressive.
Yeah.
So their best hitter is their right fielder, Ethan Petrie. 13 homers, 42 RBIs, hitting .440 for the year. Next guy is Braylon
Left fielder?
Wimmer, right fielder.
Right fielder.
Their shortstop's hitting .330 with 8. Their catcher's got 10. Gavin Cassis, who, if you know his brother is Tristan Cassis, the first baseman for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 15. And Will McGillis has 10. So those guys, like, that's where all the offense is coming from, is those 5 guys, right? Pretty impressive. Now, they're not afraid to strike out. Petrie, 24 strikeouts, 11 walks. Wimmer, 28 strikeouts, 17 walks. Cole Messina, 24 Ks, but 20 walks. Cassis, 33 punchies, 23 walks, so it does a little bit of both. And then, yeah, I mean, their left fielder has 40 punchies. Now, he's hitting 227, that's probably why. But,
That's struggling.
yeah, but they can hit, man. They can swing it now.
Well, that's what they hang their hat on is offense. And so if you're LSU, you have to go in thinking, okay, Skeens, if you can shut the door and LSU just plays their normal ball where they can put up, you know, if you just put up 3, 4, 5, you feel good about whatever Skeens is going to do through 7 innings.
Right, and I'm
You
looking
get-
at their... Go ahead.
I'm just saying, when it gets dicey is when you go Friday, Saturday.
Right. And I'm looking at their their pitching numbers, their starters. You said Will Sanders their ace. Will Sanders 2-1 is a 5 ERA.
Mahoney, their Saturday guy.
That's their Saturday guy. But so, and look, you got about an inning, a strikeout per inning. Sanders does, but he's got a batter's hitting 248 off of him, right? Which I don't think that's a good for a pitcher. If you're giving up, like if the average guys are hitting 250 off of you, like that's
250
up too many
plus.
hits.
250 plus means there's a lot of barrels and you're giving up.
All
some
three of
hits.
these starters have. So Mahoney's a Saturday guy. He's given up he has a 250 batting average against, and Noah Hall is their third guy as a 241. Right. So Jack Mahoney's got the best numbers, but Will Sanders is their ace. So I think that it may be an offensive series outside of the first game, because remember, Ty Floyd's a fly ball guy, and so if they are touching the ball and getting it up in the zone and getting up in the air, maybe some balls sneak out. Not saying that it's going to happen, but if he had the runs he has given up this year have been homers. They haven't been a bunch big homers, but like solos and a couple 2-run shots. So, it's going to be interesting. I don't mean to preview it on Wednesday because we're going to have our show on Friday. We are having the show on Friday.
Cool.
I think, Jared, I don't want to hurt your Easter plans. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being serious because I have Easter plans too for Good Friday.
Get your ashes.
Yeah, and you're.
Just.
I mean, read a Bible one time.
I have. I know it. That's why I know it so well. I read it more than I should have.
Yeah,
I like the back end of the book. Really gets juicy.
Revelation.
Revelation.
Oh, man.
Yes, not Revelations. Revelation.
That's what I said.
I know. A lot of people put an S on it. It's not
No
there.
S.
No S.
No S.
Great story.
But you're going to Dallas, so it's a long drive. Honestly, what time do you have to leave?
I mean, I don't really know.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, but that's
figure
an
it out
off-air
right now.
conversation,
We'll talk
right?
about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about
What
it.
time do your
We're just getting
obligations
everybody a
start?
little sense of what we talk about. Like we need everybody's part of the squad, sort of,
Yeah.
mostly.
Clubbies.
Yeah, all the clubbies. Speaking of the clubbies, it's Wednesday, so we have Ask Mikey and Mitch day today. Again, it's baseball season. We're gonna be consumed with a lot of baseball talk. We're gonna get some of the back end of the show. We're gonna get to some of the other sports, but it's Ask Mikey and Mitch. Ask Mikey and Mitch is brought to you by our friends down at EFCO Development. EFCO Development. Oh, were you about to do it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just making sure it's everybody's on the same page.
We're on the same page. EFCO Development is a civil construction company. They're based out of Lafayette. They do really good work. They've been doing this. They've been in the industry for a very long time. If you don't know what civil construction is really all the dirt work. They specialize in multifamily construction. They specialize in demo work, site drainage, utilities, earthworks, site clearing, house pads, and ponds. Great people, like I said. If you like Lloyd, I'm sure you're gonna like Tyler. If you don't like Lloyd, I bet you would still like Tyler.
You would still like Tyler,
right?
Yeah.
They're not the same person.
But we get
Tyler
along
is he's a professional construction guy.
Yeah.
Lloyd is a professional
Goofball.
producer and goofball, right? So if you're interested
And
you have any
reader,
work that you
apparently.
need to hire a civil construction company, EFCO Development are your guys. Not is your guys. They are your guys, right? Call Tyler today at 318-229-5585. Again, that number is Tyler today, 318-229-5585. Give them a call. Tell them that Lloyd sent you.
Yes.
Actually, don't say that. Tell them
would
that
be
Mikey
thrilled.
sent you, not Lloyd.
I'll be
All
there.
right.
I'll be there on Sunday. Big Masters party.
You don't like your family, huh?
At the Leday's house.
You don't like your family,
It's
huh?
my parents' anniversary. I figured give them the house, I don't want to do what you do on an anniversary. Maybe I'll have a brother.
Jesus Christ.
Well, my dad had a vasectomy.
I think they're past that point of having kids.
I don't know. If you read the Bible, it can happen to anybody.
Oh, you all right today? Are you good?
I think I'm good.
Dangerous over there.
Dangerous.
Right now.
Dangerous.
Good. Nice.
Like mystical.
I understand why we get confused with EFCO Development, EFCO Solutions. The website is efcosolutions.com. So that's where. So we're not wrong either time.
No, we're not.
It's not a pass fail. You type in either, you'll get to where you want to go.
Well, can you type in EFCO Development on Google? Does it bring you to that website?
Uh huh.
So it goes both.
That's what I'm saying. They
genius.
hacked the system.
That's genius.
Country boys are smart.
Look, they're smart.
Yeah.
Look at that.
No
Give them a
doubt.
call. All right. Let's ask Mikey and Mitch.
It is.
So we have some questions that we pulled off of the Twitter sphere, or I guess the Doge sphere.
Doge sphere. The Doge house.
You want to go first? Or you want to put those in first? Which one are you going to go first?
You do the Twitter questions. Hold on, no, actually, I haven't pulled up. 1 second, because I was doing I put them in a separate tab. All right, here we go. Ask Mikey and Mitch.
Here we go.
Hashtag. Here we go. Ask Mikey and Mitch. First one up.
Fonz, where's my guy?
Oh, he's that. That'll be a YouTube question. He has some in. Kind of some things that we already touched on, but we can do it again. Josh is the man from Lafayette at BIC_Mitchum_337. So I'm assuming Lafayette. How do you think the pitching march-up is for this weekend? I'm assuming you meant matchup, but profile picture's Tommy Boy, so I actually like this guy. So how do you think the pitching matchup is for this weekend? Kind of just went through it, but I figured I'd ask.
I think it matches up well. Obviously, with skiing's on Saturday, it matches up every time you're out there, right?
On Thursday.
I mean, on Thursday, like your ace, he's going to match up with any team that he faces. So I'm confident with that. I think that their pitching staff and our offense, I think our offense matches up with their pitching staff really well. Their offense is scary, right? Their offense has a lot of pop. They've hit a bunch of homers. They're hot, right? They're playing at home in a stadium that is known to be home run friendly. But as I mentioned before, they also like to strike out a little bit, right? And we have a bunch of strikeout pitchers. So I think that even though they do have the potential to hit a bunch of homers, they also have the potential to strike out. And when you have electric arm, you have the ability to kind of mitigate the homers. They may run into a couple, but I think that especially our first two guys match up really well. Now, we talked about the weather. That's going to be an issue. If that cold front brings in some wind coming in from center field, that changes the entire dynamic of their offense.
Yeah, I think the pitching matchup is fine. There isn't a team in the country that going into a series that I look at their pitching matchup and I'm like, oh, it's going to be tough for them. I do think that they're very, very, very talented. I do think that all of these guys have shown very bright spots at times this year. We're just starting to see some questions come out of the back end of the bullpen and consistency-wise. So, with that being said, if those guys are on their game and doing what we know they can do, and which isn't really just, we can kind of get some outs and find ways to get outs, they have top to bottom guys with electric stuff. We haven't seen every single one of them pitch with a ton of consistency, but if they're pitching consistent, like doing what we know they can do, I don't really have I'm not really that worried about the pitching staff at all.
All right, continuing with LSU baseball, we do have one.
I saw that. I like that.
In there. But while we're on the subject of baseball, and then we'll do the football question from Twitter, then we'll get into the YouTube questions, which will probably be baseball predominant. But from Zach Thompson, Zach THO 554.
We're going straight Twitter questions right now.
Yeah, these are. I'm gonna knock these out because there's only one more. What do you guys think of Belos's playing time, and what do you think it looks like going forward?
You want to answer this first?
I think you're going to see him still continue to carve out some at-bats for himself. I think he's done well. You saw him with a rough weekend a little bit this past weekend. Who doesn't have one? Dylan had one until Saturday rolled around, if you will. Beloso's a veteran bat. He's a great clubhouse guy.
He's a lefty bat.
There's a ton of good things that he's done, and he's cleaned up things in his swing to give him a chance in plate appearances right now. And I do think he's going to be a vital part of that team going forward.
I agree. He had a big double on the game that we were at. He pulled the 95-mile fastball down the line for a double, right? He didn't have a ton of hits, but he got a few. And I think that he comes up. He always seems to put himself in a position to have good at-bats in big spots. I agree with you. I think he's going to continue to carve out some at-bats.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say if and I'm not saying he's going to start every game, but if this past weekend against Tennessee, which I think we can arguably say will be the best pitching staff they face all year, if that doesn't tell you what his outlook towards the rest of the season will be, that kind of I think you're kind of seeing it there.
And I think he's so comfortable in the role of he's not one to be like, why am I not playing?
No doubt.
He's like, whatever you call my number, I'm ready to go,
right.
coach.
And that you need those guys.
That's massive.
Have to have those guys on the team. So I think you're going to start seeing it. You're going to see him get some starts. You're going to see him get some DH spots. You're going to see him at first, but not a ton, right? You're going to see him more in the DH spot, and you're going to see him carve out those at-bats. Before we get to the other questions, it's crazy. That's how crazy baseball is, right? And there's nothing to do with Beloso. But Dylan Cruz had a 26-game hitting streak. He hit 600 this past weekend against the best pitching staff in the country. He's hitting 540 for the year. Last year he went 0 for 2. Last night he went 0 for 2 at 2 punches. 2 walks, no punches, 2 walks. Hitting streak's over. Against
two rolled over ground balls in the infield too.
Right.
Not even like missile somewhere, just right at him.
And nothing wrong with that.
No. I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but that's baseball.
I'm just saying baseball's crazy sometimes. It's a stupid sport. You just facing 100 for 3 straight days, and you're raking.
4 for 4.
And now you're facing guys who's not throwing 100, and you're 0 for 2 with 2 walks. He's going to get on base. I got to imagine he's probably going to get on base every game this year. There's a chance it happens, right? And so
I think there's a strong chance.
It's happened before, right? And so he's going to. I believe that how good he is with the lineup and being able to take his walks, he's going to do that. But I just wanted to make a point. Baseball's crazy. You just never know. All right, on to the next one.
Okay, we'll tackle the football question.
Look at you did. I see what you did there.
Oh, I didn't even do that on purpose. It's so sad.
Yeah, my ass.
I don't know.
All right, let's flip to football real quick, then we'll get to all the questions that are on YouTube. Thank you all for sending them in. Hashtag Ask Mikey and Mitch makes it very easy for us. Thank you, boys, for participating. What do y'all think the football record's going to be, or do you think Jaden has a big chance at the Heisman? Do people proofread they just fire away?
Just fire away.
Just fire them out.
All right.
They want you to kind of figure
Just
it out.
struggle through it.
So I think, what's the over under? 9.5. I think I saw it's 9.5. I think they get 10 wins in the regular season this year for sure. I do think Jaden Daniels has a shot at the Heisman. I mean, as he has a chance to be in contention. Yes, I do think that he has a chance to be in contention, especially if he evolves as a passer. Right, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest if. But if you're asking if he has a shot to be in the Heisman contention, yes, I think he has a shot.
Got in there for like a quick second last year after the Alabama game. It was like, whoa, okay, who are we going to give this thing to? Jaden Daniels' name started to come up. Then you have the Arkansas game where he has the flu and it kind of disappeared. So you saw glimpses.
Not the MJ flu game.
No, it was, I think Harry P took that one from him.
Yeah, I'm going to go, you will start to see the beginning of the string of double-digit win season start next year.
Like regular season,
Regular season. I say 10 plus next year.
He is listed as 2, 4, 6, 7, 8th with plus 1,600 to win the Heisman. Who's Kyle McCord?
Who?
Kyle McCord? Should I know that name? He's tied with him with the odds.
I think that's the guy that's battling it out for the spot at Alabama. I think. I could be wrong.
Ohio State's quarterback.
That's what I said. Yep.
That's
the one.
Nailed it.
Right there in the southeastern.
Yep. I knew it was up there.
That's the guy I was talking about. I don't know what y'all were talking about.
Yeah, I knew there was some red in there.
Crimson, red. Same thing.
All right.
Scarlet, crimson. What's the difference?
They're all going to be there in the end. Getting back to the baseball questions, Hunter Fournette, first one up.
There he is.
Ask him you think they're going to use Little as an opener more so than as a starter on Sunday? And also, I'm doing this while driving. So,
great.
Yeah, that boy.
What happened to the cool little thing that you put in there?
Oh, I can do that for these. I can't do it for the Twitter ones. They won't catch.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I think until we can get Thatcher back on track and looking like the guy that we know he can be, I do think Little is going to be the opener, if you will. But hey, as long as you can go.
Okay, so not a design 2-inning guy.
If he somehow can give you 65 pitches in 4 innings, go ahead and do it. Yeah, I do think that's what you end up seeing from him.
I agree. I think that there's no leash as far as like, hey, we only want you to go 2 innings. I think that if he can go 6, he's going to go 6.
Yeah.
I would like to see him go 6. That would be a great thing, right? And then hopefully he can sustain that, but I don't think it's going to be an opener.
Yeah, I don't think it's like that's what
Jay,
I said. I don't
Jay liked that last year, but I think he did it out of necessity.
Yeah, that's what I said. You can call it an opener, but I don't think it's going to be used how that role's kind of been identified over the past couple of years.
Yep. All right, next one up, Kevin Williams.
What up, Kev?
Let me send this one in. All right.
K-Dub.
Tigers are playing well, but have they actually reached their full potential, and have they actually gotten in a hole yet?
I don't think they've reached their full potential. I mean, I don't. If I said if I'd have said that, then this is the final product. I don't believe this is the final product. I think that there's still some things that they can improve on as far as assigned roles and guys stepping up and putting themselves in a position to be counted on when it matters. I also believe that the offense and some of the guys in the offense are going to continue to evolve throughout the course of the year. They have not hit. Listen. We have one guy on our team with double digits. I think that at the end of the year you could end up with 5 or 6.
I mean, by the end of the series, I think you might end up with 5 or 6.
Well, at the end of the series, you may end up with you already have Tommy White. You're gonna end up with Dylan Cruz, possibly, Gavin Dugas, possibly, Jared Jones, possibly. That's 4 right there, right? And then some of these other guys may get hot and start hitting some homers, and you sneak in another guy.
I'm gonna go out and say I think we saw for a very like a blink of an eye, them hitting pretty much in all cylinders somewhere right before as conference play kind of started, somewhere in that range. I think they were 11 or 12 straight. Guys were throwing well. Guys were swinging it really well. All hot bats. But I don't. But for me, I guess if you're saying clicking on all cylinders, that has to be sustained, right? Playing for like that for a while. So for me, I think it's been a good thing that didn't happen for a while then, and you don't kind of blow that early. So no, they haven't really been clicking on all cylinders. You saw a glimpse of it a little bit, and I do think that once you can get that going, this team will be scary. Like you said, you're sitting here with one guy with double-digit homers. We still haven't seen Dylan really go goofy with the homer streak.
Right.
He had a weekend where he played really well. I think he had, 3 or 4 in the weekend. But we haven't seen him go with the 2-week span of 5 or 6 or whatever. You haven't really seen all of that stuff yet. So, no, I don't think that they've got
Also, Tommy White hit 2 last night. Get ready. Because it happened when he had his big stretch early.
5
That's what
RBIs,
happened.
2 homers last night, and center field and then backside late in the game.
He
That's
had a
always
shot.
if you're not really like that keen into understanding when these hot streaks kind of come, when you see guys start hitting the ball backside and or to the big part of the field with authority, that's when good things are usually. If they can stick in that plan and that mindset and that's when good things start coming.
Well, and that's what gets him in trouble. He gets a little overeager at the plate, it feels like, and he tries to start kind of gets a
Very
little
aggressive,
a little pool happy, and then that's whenever you roll over some balls. Whenever he works that backside approach and trusts how strong he is, that's when you've only seen good things from Tommy
he went
White.
3/4 up the hitter's eye last night, and then
He missed it. He didn't really hit it. He missed
Right.
it. And it was so that's what you're getting there.
And do you think that they start maybe pitching them backwards where you almost have to offer to Dylan Cruz and not put him on base because Tommy White's behind him? That you have to almost pick your poison. But if you put on Dylan Cruz, you're almost like, oh, we're giving up 1 for 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, go after him, but like,
you pay the piper.
Yeah.
I think this. I'll be honest with you, and this is a bold statement to say, but I do think if you feel like you've got the matchup and a guy that can get up there and execute, if you feel you can get Tommy to weak contact and or not really driving the ball in a gap, I'm doing it. It's a big
pitch
ask.
around Dylan and go down.
Yeah, but I'm doing it, and I guess it's only something. It's not really something you can sit here and say, "Let's do all game." But in a pressure-packed situation, yeah, maybe.
I mean,
Tommy's a little more of a free swinger. Mm-hmm. Like
he doesn't swing and miss a ton. He doesn't walk a ton. Doesn't strike out a ton.
He's not afraid to put the ball in play very early. So if I can swing, if I can execute pitches and get him to fly out, roll over while Dylan's at first base, not at second, not at third. Yeah, I'll take that opportunity. Maybe even drops one in somewhere. Okay, then just first and second. Maybe I would take that. I would take that chance.
Because he has rolled into a few.
How many RBIs do you think Tommy has?
Almost 50.
He has 50.
He has 50. There you go, dude.
He has 50 steaks.
How many games? He's got more than 2 a game right now because he didn't play all season.
26 games played.
There you go.
That's good of who? FCO math. All right, your guy Fonzarelli sends in the question. Ask him it in. Depending on if we win the series or not, does that adjust who you have on your Sunday for who starts on Sundays?
I don't think it's dependent on winning the series.
I mean, they've pretty much already came out and said it, so I think
it's dependent on how he.
No, I think they're saying like if you win the first 2, does that change who you pitch on?
Oh no, they've already
Saturday,
announced. They've already announced the starter.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that changes. That's not gonna change.
Usually when it's announced, it's set in stone, pretty much. Because those guys have a schedule to kind of go by. And that means if they've come out and given it to the public already, then those guys already know themselves too.
Another pitching question coming from James Bond. Ask him. Little is the starter for the 3rd game this weekend. Would you start Little, or would you give a different pitcher a chance to start?
Mikey likes the idea of this. I actually like the idea of it too, but looking at where our bullpen is currently standing, it's very hard for me to take him out of that area just off of watching what he's done lately. But I do think Griffin Herron would be a very, very, very high candidate.
I think that eventually Griffin could maybe sneak in there, right? Depending on, unless he's too valuable in the bullpen role right now, right? Unless they say, Jay's like, listen, you're too valuable with their dominant 2-3 inning stretches that we're going to use you in that role. And if we have to use you every Sunday in that role, we're going to do that. But I think that if he continues to do what he does, I think there's a chance that he can make it into that rotation towards the end of the year and be that lefty presence.
I'll tell you this. The key thing that they would love to see happen, because I think, and it's just a bold prediction of mine, I think if he's not in the starting rotation, you essentially lose him. I think they really think Thatcher needs to be the Sunday guy. And when I say lose him is if he's not throwing on Sundays in that starting spot, are you going to get the same mindset that he would have attacked things with if everything was going right?
Right, and I agree. And I don't know Thatcher enough.
I
to
don't.
know
I'm
that
just
mindset,
no.
right.
And that's what I said. I'm just making a bold prediction. Dude.
Right.
I don't know him. I hope he doesn't go and do that.
I want him to be the Sunday guy.
I do too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's my point.
yeah.
So I'm saying, like, I just
Makes a lot of your problems go away.
Yeah.
yeah.
Quote unquote.
But to answer his question, yes, I like the fact that Little's starting because he's been struggling a little bit in the back end of the bullpen. So maybe this is a new way. Like, hey, listen, you're going to start. You're going to go through this preparation. You came in as a starter. You have an opportunity to kind of control the pace of the game early on. It's not last inning, hard, tough situation. So let's see if this changes the way you kind of attack guys. And maybe he needs to throw his fastball more and he's able to throw more strikes and do these types of things. So I'm interested to see that.
You just want to see some consistency.
I just want to see strikes. Make the team beat you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the third. You're the third. I knew that was coming.
It's okay.
You're the third starter. Make that team earn it. Don't let them. Don't just give it to them.
When I watch him pitch, I see a lot of his off-speed stuff is good, but he doesn't have enough at this point, enough command of it to be able to throw it at will. So I would love to see him be able to pitch to contact a little more. But seemingly, he doesn't like throwing that fastball to contact in those high pressure pack situations. So I do think if he's in the starting role, he can use that fastball a lot more, pitch a little more to contact, be able to work the breaking ball and stuff with that off of the fastball.
Agreed.
Which I think will make him more successful and kind of have a little more longevity in him right now.
Agreed.
All right, next one up. Not so serious reviews. What's the caveat to USC? How does LSU beat them?
Keep doing what they're doing.
That's what I don't think USC is the favorite in this series. I wouldn't imagine.
No. Listen, you can't take. I mean, they're 16 in the country. They're hot. They're one of the hotter teams in the country, right? Offensively, they can do anything they want. Pitching, really good pitching, kind of mitigates. Everything's falling. Pitching kind of mitigates really good hitting.
That ain't the one either,
right?
Coach.
No, it's not.
Phone?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you case guy? No case.
I'm a case guy. Pitching can mitigate that type of offense. Now it's a different. They're playing at home. It's a very good place to hit, but I don't think that LSU's going to go in as a favorite. I don't think that I'm not as worried about them not winning. Like I think if they continue to do what they're doing, I think they're fine. I think the biggest thing is like, all right, if you burn your two guys, I'm just interested in the third game. If there is a third game, I'd imagine that they're going to do the best they can and play a third game.
And that's actually, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I think when I think about this series, and I do think series like this on the road, hostile environment, I do think once again these has to be places where, truthfully, where your offense kind of shows up. Like I expect, it'd be hard for me to not expect Skeens to show up, right? Which could kind of quiet the crowd a little bit. But if your offense shows up, then there's really no noise coming from the crowd. And we haven't seen a weekend yet where their offense is just silent. So how do you beat them? I think their offense has to show up and continue to grind out at bats, continue to push runs across, continue to make it hard for the other team.
I don't know how the wind and stuff with the stadium and all that stuff, but if the wind is not blowing straight in for the first 2 days, there's going to be a lot of home runs hit on LSU side. Just based off the guys that they're throwing, the guys that we have in our lineup, I believe
it's
that
a great place to get the ball in the air.
Yeah.
That leads to our next question. Fawn's Frelly up again. Thank you, sir. Ask him, knowing SC can hit home runs in their park being a little league field, does Johnson & Johnson give their starter a longer leash if they give up a couple home runs early?
I think it depends on the starter. I think Skeens has the longest leash you want, right? I think Ty Floyd's shown that he can rebound after giving up a couple homers, especially if they're solo. Now, if you're walking a bunch of guys and giving up some 3-run homers, you're not, at least isn't going to be that long because you're giving up too many runs. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that the home runs in the park and all that stuff means that they're going to have a longer leash. I think that their track record on the mound is their reason of having a longer leash.
Yeah, I would say the first two guys already have a long leash, but I do think two other reasons. One, because of, I guess, the inconsistency so far towards the back end of the bullpen, you don't want to have to just burn guys, right? Every game is obviously super important, but you don't want to have to just burn guys because you know you need them throughout the weekend. That's one. Two, also, all they've done is one series so far, which is great, but it doesn't give you a big lead, right? So with that being the case, each of these series that they've played so far, it gives you kind of this, man, if we can come out with another series win, it'd be great. Put us in a great spot, as opposed to if we lose the series, now we're middle in this thing a little bit. Right. So I do think those other two reasons are huge for him this weekend as well.
Last one up, Matt Kennedy. Thoughts on potentially losing Chase Shores for an extended amount of time? Obviously, we don't know.
We don't know anything that's going on.
The situation is.
Only thing I know is the sleeves on his arm that everybody else saw, and Jay Johnson said that they're further evaluating him, giving tests. It's not up to us to break any news that we don't know. Like, it's not fair to speculate. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the family. It's not fair to the team to speculate what we think is going on. We don't know anything, right? Like, that's up to Jay when he wants to announce it. That's up to Chase whenever they want to announce it. Like, this is his career. This is what's going on with him, right? It's a tough situation, whether it be nothing or a big deal, right? That's their moment to make that announcement. So if we do lose him, obviously that's a big blow. That's a power arm. He's had a lot of success. He's thrown really well. He's a guy that you're looking forward to watching continue to pitch throughout the course of the year. That'd be two guys that you had penciled in as elite arms on your staff or in your bullpen. That hurts. Like, there's no way around it. Like, that would hurt. But you have enough arms to be able to regroup and put other guys out there that are capable of getting outs, right? Just because they don't throw 100 doesn't mean that they're not capable of getting outs. Gavin Guidry's shown it. I think Gavin, if you're going to start seeing him throw more. We said that a few times. Like, he is proven to you that he has good stuff and he can get outs, and I think that's what you're going to see. It would suck. I hope that it's not serious, and I hope that he's not out for an extended period of time. But if he is, I believe that Wes and those guys are going to have the other guys' next man up mentality.
Yeah, I'll just keep it as simple as possible. When you have an arm that is explosive as his is and can throw strikes, it would be a huge loss if you lose him for a long time, right? That's what you don't want. So simply because of that, really doesn't matter who else you have, because at the end of the day, you never can have enough pitching, right? So if that were to be the case, it would be a big blow to the pen. We don't know it yet. We will find out.
And that wraps. Ask Mikey and Mitch.
Ask Mikey and Mitch. Appreciate all the questions.
Yeah.
Do it every Wednesday. Keep putting them in there. Let's take a quick break, regroup, and get to the seggies after this. Get to the last little bit of conversation, of sports conversation. Right before we go on break, let's talk about our friends at Heineken. Because they do a really good job. They're building a really good product. They've made a really good product. It's their light beer. It is 95 calories. It is crisp. It tastes really good. Tailgating before a game, whether it be baseball or football or whatever you're tailgating for, give them a try, right? They're putting them out there. They're great can. I mean, great, like, presentation of the can is nice. Like, it's simple. It's not too loud. You know what it is. It's got the star on it.
How many ounces is that?
How many ounces?
Is it 12?
This is a 12-ounce.
I love a slender can.
Yeah, kind of like a Michelob.
Yeah.
But it's not Michelob.
It's not.
It's Heineken Silver.
We should do a taste test, like a blind taste test.
Like, did you see the documentary on Netflix between Pepsi and Coke?
Everybody thought Pepsi was better blind.
When it was, it was like, it was a guy who sued Pepsi because they jokingly said, "We'll give you a fighter jet," and he came up with this whole business plan of like getting enough Pepsi and collecting enough points to actually win the fighter jet. And they said that they were just lying. They were joking about that. It wasn't a real thing. And
this is like Jackie Moon with the...
But like it was like a real thing. Like, went to court. It was a big case. And so then it was like this big deal. It was a documentary. And so that in the blind test, everybody that interviewed, they'd have the blind test with Coke or Pepsi. And a lot of them picked Pepsi.
That's what made Coke change back to their original formula.
What?
Was the blind taste test. That's when they were changing the formula. Then they went back to the old one with a little... I don't know if they put the actual cocaine back in it, but that would have been a power move.
Cocaine was never in Coke.
It absolutely was.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you make that up?
No.
Did you know that?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
I need to fact check you on that. I don't believe you.
I know these things.
But our friends at Heineken, they've been our partners from day one. They're one of the OG
What's
sponsors.
that guy going to do with the fighter jet?
What?
What is that guy going to do with one?
He just to have it, and then he was gonna probably sell it.
What if they had to give him like a model, like a tiny one?
Not the same.
Well, they're saying.
But
Back to Heineken.
yeah, back to Heineken. These were
Haven't had one in
they're one of
forever.
our OG partners, right? They've been here from the beginning. We appreciate all their support. We appreciate their partnership. We look forward to continue to grow their partnership. So go ahead and try some Heineken Silver. Come back to me. Tell me how you think it tastes.
Yes.
Right? And then
You'll
if you
feel
like
great.
it, we'll have some in the ice chest for us at our next tailgates whenever you can find us. All right, take a 30-second break. Let's regroup. You're watching Miked Up. We'll be right back.
Headlines.
Heineken, maybe are you gonna have a Heineken Silver for the game? Maybe.
I kind of want one now.
You gonna shotgun another one?
You want another? I don't know if you should shotgun because we saw how that went last time. You
I don't know.
won.
I feel like you got to redeem yourself.
I think you can have a drink. I don't think you should shotgun it.
The way
Okay,
it went,
I'll
I think
enjoy
you should,
this
I think
one.
you should chug it, but maybe not shotgun it.
the way it went last time, it's
Yeah, I can do. I mean, I
can't
can
sip
do
it.
anything. I know. All right, fuck it.
All right, go ahead. Go for it. There.
All right, that's much
There you
better.
go.
1, 2,
Open
Three,
it up a little bit. You know what I
4,
mean?
5, 6, 7, 8,
Okay.
9,
Okay. It's
10,
now it's starting to drip. Now
11,
you're struggling a little bit.
12,
It's pretty good.
13.
13
It's not bad.
I'll give you
Not
a 13.
bad.
12 and a half seconds there. How was it? Was it good?
Delicious. You
It was
can't
very
do that
With a regular one.
with a regular one.
Right.
You can only do that with the silver.
The silver, why? Because the silver's lighter. It's got
Lighter.
95 calories. It's pretty crisp.
I res-
That's not even. That wasn't even cold. I know you don't necessarily need a cold beer. That was room temp.
That's
But
the
I respect
fraternity
how
days
quickly
to
you
me.
turned around and gave me a full sentence. That was quick.
Oh
I like
yeah,
that.
No
officer,
doubt.
I'm fine.
That.
You've been, look, you've been
Walk the
around
straight
before.
line, kid.
Yeah,
You've been around before, but
it's just breakfast.
It's a very good beer. It's
It
a
is.
very light beer. It's something that you can
Easy to drink.
easy to drink,
Easy to pour.
Yeah. But it's something that I think it should be in the rotation at tailgates, especially with LSU baseball coming up. We'll get into some of the LSU baseball conversation. Actually, you know what? Let's go. Ask Mikey and Mitch right now is brought to you by our. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. We're in the 7 o'clock hour. We got 25 minutes left of the show. We are going to shut this thing down a little bit with the seggies. But before we get to the seggies, it is one of the greatest weeks of the year. If you are a golf fan or if you're just a fan of tradition and just like buttery voice in the background on a nice little Sunday nap,
Fake birds.
it's this week, and that's the Masters. Tradition unlike any other. I messed that one up. I knew I was going to mess that one up. Tradition unlike any other. You have a lot of names. Tiger Woods is playing in the tournament, and they had the par 3 competition today, which was electric. You had a bunch of hole-in-ones.
Well, they had none for like the first 2 hours.
But then you had...
A cavalcade.
Yeah, you had a little... what's the word when you have a bunch of like a... Not a cluster, but... Everything happens at once. What is that called? You're just gonna stare at me blankly like that?
I said a cavalcade. That's pretty much what that
you
means.
see how he's looking at me? I'm talking to him. He's just looking at me like I'm not talking at all.
A flurry?
Flurry.
I was just thinking. I mean,
flurry of
let my brain cook.
Who knocked him in? Scheffler knocked one in?
Scheffler dunked his in when they all hit at once, and it was actually kind of controversial because there was somebody left a ball in the green, and so when they all hit at once, one was in the water. Our boy Burnsy put it in the water. Scheffler dunks it, but there's already a ball in the green, and I think it was Kim that was with him. Also hit it at the same time, and he left it on the front edge. So there was 2 on the front edge, one obviously in the water. So it's like, oh, this is Scheffler and Kim's ball. And then Scheffler's like, they celebrated like he made a hole-in-one. The announcers had no clue what was going on because of the camera. And then they had a second camera, Zapruder film, where you saw the ball go in. And it was like, okay, Scheffler, that's the way he celebrated. He went and picked it up, and he was like, Tyler's 4, that's mine. Because the guy before him had just made a hole-in-one. They're like, did he forget his ball in the hole? Because he just made 2 in a row. And so that was if there's any controversy at the par 3 contest.
His Power hit 2 in a row.
Right.
2 hole-in-ones. He had a hole-in-one, made it. Next hole, hole-in-one. It's par 3 competition, so obviously, but 2 in a row. That's
impressive.
Awesome.
I'm still waiting on my first one in my life, so.
Me too.
I mean,
that's neither here nor there.
You gotta get out there and get one.
Yeah, I don't think you'll. I mean,
woo, baby.
Hole-in-one ain't happening if you ain't on the golf course, Coach. And I haven't been on the golf course a couple weeks. I'm very upset about it. This week was a doozy of a week.
It's only
okay.
Wednesday.
Yep, doozy of a week.
All downhill from here, baby.
Yeah, can't get it.
I mean, it doesn't change the week.
No.
It's been a doozy of a week.
That goes
Long
to
day
show
tomorrow.
how stupid golf is. Jared Mitchell has never picked up a club. I'm over
No,
here.
not never.
Well,
Just doesn't do it
never.
often.
That's come on.
yeah. Well, it's,
mean-
how compared to how much you and I have played, I don't have a hole-in-one. I'm very close.
You've played more than I have, but definitely
Yeah,
I haven't even come close. But I'm also very amateur golfer.
Your
I'm
hole-in-one's
getting
going to come on a par 4.
I'm,
That's your best chance.
I'm not. I mean, we're getting better. We're
Not
working
much
on it.
touching that thing.
We're working on it.
We're
We're
getting
working
there.
on it.
Big
We're
long
working
ball
on it.
guy.
Yes.
We're working on it. Big guy hit big 330, 340 down the middle of the fairway. Next shot, not great.
Mikey would be very. if you matched up with Mikey as a single and you're just like, oh, let's play, and you saw him tee off on
This
one,
goes
you'd
back
be
to
like,
that. This
oh,
goes back
fuck.
to that baseball talk where we say sometimes less is more.
Hey, listen. From tee box, pretty good. Green, pretty good. Everywhere in between, it's
Work in
coin
progress.
toss. Coin toss.
You mean those touch swings a little bit?
Not necessarily even touch. Just like
a
honestly, my
7-iron.
touch around the green's actually not terrible. It's the half shots. Like it's you're 60 yards out, or okay, you have to go and hit your irons consistently. 180 to 190, and like you've got to be able to flush it. Well, I don't always flush them all the time. Sometimes I spray it. Sometimes I hit a little worm burner. Sometimes I flush it. I just don't know.
Mikey's
Very
a
consistent.
Mikey's a big hero golfer. It's like you try to teach him around the golf course.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just hit it right at the hole? It's like that. If that was that easy, we would all be doing that. So we just got to temper expectations a little bit. Have
Me
some
and Nate
smaller
Fury
misses.
have a lot of the same mentality. on
I
golf
see the
course.
hole. That's it. How do I
Yeah,
get
hit it
there?
right at the stick.
Oh,
every
what's the
time.
hole? Oh, it's 140. So I hit my 140 club. No, probably want to go 130 because this is the way the green. Like that's the stuff that I'm working through right now.
What's the wind doing?
We're getting after it. It's okay. But the Masters is there's 3. No, that was last week, huh? The 3 LSU girls that played in the women's amateur last weekend. Do anybody know? We don't know, huh?
No, my girl got eliminated.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
She cheated. Not on me.
She
but-
cheated, huh?
Yeah, it was lift clean in place, or so she thought. She lift clean in place in the rough, which was not allowed.
How do you not know
in the
that?
fairway. I guess the rules official didn't tell her, or she cheated, which I would be surprised because she's a stand-up girl. So
How do you know that?
How do you know that?
because she's like 15 and won the Augusta Women's, so you got to have some sort of like medal to you.
Maybe she's been cheating the whole time.
Maybe, I hope
Yeah,
not.
maybe.
Break my heart.
But all right, let's get to the seggies.
Well, it leads me right into my Doe's Eat Place mistake of the day, brought to you by Doe's Eat
Dozy
Place,
place.
which
We're gonna be there tomorrow.
Yes.
For lunch.
we got to talk that out too.
Yeah, we do have to talk that out. That's probably why it's probably good to stop the show a little bit. So.
Yeah, a big post show meeting. But my mistake of the day goes to, if you watched any of the par 3, it goes to Gary Player for just making an absolute spectacle out of this thing. He made it totally about himself. Whenever this is the one opportunity where everybody knows it's all about the course, it's all about like family and friends. There's kids running around out there. Gary Player's doing he's running circles around the place and high-fiving people. He's acting like it's like some sort of swan song. And the reason I think he's doing this is because it came out earlier in the month, at the beginning of April 1st. This is not an April Fool's. Is that he is trashing the Masters and trashing Augusta because he's not allowed to go out there and play whenever he wants. He said, it's very hard for me to get a tee time as a former champion. He's like, I can't go play with my grandkids. And if you know anything about Gary Player, the reason that this happened is because 2 years ago, I want to say, maybe 2019, he does the customary tee shot with the 3 legends, go up there and tee it up. He has his son stand behind him marketing his own golf ball. And Augusta saw it, threw his son out the tournament.
Love that.
And so now Gary Player is wondering why they don't let him do whatever he wants. It's because you've already broken the rules. You're lucky you're here. And so Gary
I don't know
has.
if you know anything about Augusta, Gary, but they do their own deal.
They do their own.
You
thing.
don't tell what happens at Augusta. Augusta tells you what happens here, and so there's no special exception. Sorry, buddy.
So Gary, I think, kind of was probably maybe rubbing his nose or rubbing the Augusta's nose, and him being out there. Would not be surprised if that was his last par 3 tournament.
Sorry, Gary. Great career. Still in great shape. Good.
He's on HGH for sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
They don't test for that.
He doesn't get tested at all. He's retired.
There you go. Mistake of the day, bro.
Respect the course.
Respect the course. All right. Let's go to our curtain calls. Lloyd, curtain calls brought to you by our friends down at Assured Partners.
They are.
And me.
Oh.
Get us anywhere you want. Any insurance. No, I don't want to say any. That's where you get all your commercial insurance. Give us a call.
What is your curtain call? I don't
I'm
want to take the
going
one
last.
up.
You told me what you told you.
You want that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, I just had mine. Oh, my curtain call is obviously LSU women's basketball wins national championship, but before the parade, they have Angel Reese, Alexis Morris, and Flage go work at Canes. And if you've seen the video of Kim Mulkey is also there, and she's acting like this is a real job. Like she's bossing people around. She's like telling them there's 2 minutes on the fryer. So I just thought it was unbelievable that once a coach, always a coach. She can't turn it off.
Right.
And they're just like trying to have fun. They're talking in the window, and she's like, "Ladies, we got to get to work." And I just thought it was a testament to her coaching style that you could still maybe try to have a little bit of fun, but she's not messing around. Acting like she owns
Look at her. She's serious.
That's what I'm saying. She took it very seriously. Shout out to Kim.
Hey, what do we always say? How you do anything is how you do everything, baby.
There you go.
It's a testament to it.
There you go. My curtain call is going to go to the Pelicans fans. Got 3 games left on the slate of the regular season, including tonight's game against the Grizzlies. Obviously, that's not a very easy opponent, but the Grizzlies are in New Orleans tonight. New Orleans is currently, I think, tied for the 8th spot right now. So, Pels fans, stand up because I'm sure this would be a nice one to be at.
They got to. They need to have it.
Be a nice one to be at right now. And I
What's
would
the-
imagine
so the-
if you create that environment, it could help that
You
squad.
said
out a
you
little bit.
may have just said 7th. If you get to 7, you're not in the plan,
I think so.
right?
If I remember correctly, I think
Like
so.
that's 8 and back.
I think so.
I believe.
It used to just be the top 8 seeds got in.
Yeah, but I think now it's the
8 and 9 play each other?
8, 9, 10, 11, whatever it is.
7, so that's
yeah.
why 7's so important.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. My curtain call is
You're all basically playing for that last spot, the 8th
Yeah,
spot. Yeah.
right. My curtain call is to Mike Bianco. We talked about Ole Miss struggling. Mike Bianco is former LSU catcher, former LSU assistant coach under Skip. Is now at Ole Miss. Won Ole Miss's first national championship last year, and last night officially passed Skip Urban in the all-time wins. He's second in SEC with 871. He passed Skip Urban. Who's number 1? Is it Ron Polk?
Yes.
Yes.
What does he have?
About to pull it up.
1 million.
He has 1,218.
I don't know if he's getting
million.
to that.
I don't think anybody's going to get to that.
Ron's got 1 million.
I don't think. And Ron Polk always wrote a letter to us in our base.
Always,
Always
baby.
got a letter from Ron Polk. He was at UAB for a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Ronnie. Congratulations, Mike Bianco.
And shout out to Skip. We actually, before Hold the Rope, we filmed a video montage of Skip congratulating Mike Bianco on passing him. We did it like a week or 2 ago. So they had this coming. Shout out to Ole Miss for having the forethought to get Skip involved.
Nice.
Celebrate a former player.
Of course.
And Skip did a great job. I hope the video went well.
Also,
I have no clue. If it went poorly, that is totally my fault because I recorded it.
second curtain call.
Oh,
Yeah.
come back. Encore.
Encore. Because we talked about this earlier, right? We talked about doing things that bring teams together, right? That like, maybe
Camaraderie.
quirky.
Team builders.
Like we talked about the ring, they drew the ring on, whatever. Jared talked about, when we played, we wrapped up some Tony Sasheries, taped it up, put championship seasoning, Michael's secret sauce in Space Jam, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. Seems like LSU has their
You saw this.
little thing. Yeah. And if you're not a fan of Major League or you've never seen the movie Major League, Jobu is Pedro Serrano's spiritual guidance counselor, if you
Hitting
will.
coach.
Basically, right? So he would meditate and
His
be in
everything.
front of Jobu. And LSU has adopted Jobu. And Jobu, they have a nice little figure ring in the locker of Jobu. And Jobu is giving them more hits than he gave Pedro Serrano because at the end of the movie, if you don't know, he says, "Fuck you, Jobu, I'll do it myself."
Myself.
And he
You
does
don't
it.
help me this one time.
and he doesn't.
Well, apparently this Joe Boone knows how to hit curveballs too. So.
This Joe Boone doesn't hit curveballs, and he doesn't chase after doves that he hits in the air.
No.
You're telling me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
That's the wrong movie.
Huh?
But I'm trying to find the picture on Twitter. I had to spell check Joe Boo. I wasn't sure. But it's Dylan Cruz right next to him. Here we go. Yes. But
Look, they're in there.
underneath the somebody quoted the movie underneath and got absolutely eviscerated. And he was like, "I'm quoting the movie, you fucking idiots." And I was like, "Good, stand up for yourself."
Wait, what did he say?
It was on Instagram where I saw it, but he just said something about Joe Boo, like quoting the movie, literally quoting Major League, and everybody's like, somebody said like, "Whoosh," like you don't get the picture. It's like, bro, you don't get the picture because I've clearly seen the movie more than you.
You're losing this. Like this
Yeah.
is that's a strike on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. Great show.
I thought Dylan Cruz dyed his hair is what they were showing. No, that's not Cruz. Who's this?
That's Kling, bro.
That's Kling. Yes.
Know your players, dude.
Yeah. I didn't know if he went full Kramer.
No.
He hit a bomb.
Huh? He did hit a bomb. Kramer did hit a bomb. Our friend Joe Schwartz is met John Morant today. Took a picture with him. Posted it. Joe's been all over Twitter and
At
Instagram.
the party? Went at the. Where did
John met. I mean, he
he
met
was
John.
in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with is in New Orleans, not was.
I bet you came back for the parade.
Maybe not.
No, Joe's at the parade.
Joe's
No
at the
doubt.
parade. Call him.
Joe's at the parade. Great show today. We'll see you on Friday.
Good Friday.
For Good Friday for a little bit. We're going to recap the Thursday game that's happening tomorrow night, and we're going to talk about
Predictions. What do you think happens tomorrow? Score and wins.
I'm gonna go with a 6-2 LSU win.
I'm going to go 10-2 LSU win.
Oh.
I'm going to say Paul Skeens dominates, goes 7, and
12 strikeouts.
LSU's going to score some runs because they're going to hit, they're going to bang it around a little bit. May give up a couple maybe a cheap 2-run homer or something, but 10-2.
8-5 LSU.
Wow.
It's not because of Skeens.
Did they score the 5 after Skeens is out?
I think Skeens might give up one cheapie. And then
Homer?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you run into one going 101. Something's going to
You got
happen.
to run into it.
You got to run into
Has
it.
anybody run into one that elevated any ball this year off of Skeens? I don't think so. There's one double down the line, but that wouldn't have been a homer. So
He hasn't given up a home run yet? Not one? I thought he gave up one.
No, just 3 doubles.
He just gave up one earned.
no, I think he's got 2 or 3 earned. One of them should have been
Back-to-back no decisions.
Yeah, I did have no decision last weekend. 10-2,
10-4.
8-5, 6-2.
6-2.
All right.
All right.
I think LSU wins the series.
We will talk about it Friday.
Yes, Friday.
And yeah, I do. I'm on the same train. 2-1 series win.
I would like to see a sweep, but we'll see.
8-4 in the season in conference play.
Were the fans like fired up when y'all were there? Like, is it a good?
That's where
environment?
Jared told the guy that he swims with a shirt on,
Yeah, it was there. It's a good place. And when they're good,
and they were good.
they're charged.
Their Friday night guy that year was 97.
You'll have
98.
people probably coming home early for Easter holidays. It'll be a good environment for
Who was their starter? He
Probably
pitched in
no
the big
work on
leagues.
Friday.
Sam Dyson.
Sam Dyson. He pitched in the big leagues for a while. Ended up being a reliever.
I mean, we had no clue who the hell he was when we showed up there, and we're like,
but
"Why is he throwing
398?
97?"
Where's the scouting report?
I'm talking
With movement.
power sync too.
Yeah.
You're like, "Whoa, who the hell is this?"
That's one.
There you go. That's who it is. Sam
I
Dyson.
wasn't playing yet.
That's who.
So
it
I got
was.
to watch
Oh,
it.
it's Sam. Okay. They still had Whit Merrifield on that team. They still had
Whit
Jackie
was a
Bradley
freshman,
Jr.
I
on that
think.
team. No, he was a
sophomore because he's older than me.
Jackie was a freshman.
Jackie. And they had, who's the other outfielder? Other black dude in the outfield. Badass.
Oh,
Big dude, like pretty stacked.
God, wow, I forget his name. He had a good year that year too.
Yeah, lefty, could bang it.
Could run a little bit too. Yeah.
I forgot his name. Sorry.
That hurts because I actually.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
But they're good. They can swing it. All right. Good show today. We'll be back Friday, 1 to 3. Live from 1 to 3. Like and subscribe to our YouTube page. What are you doing over there?
D'Angelo Mack.
D'Angelo Mack.
There you go.
That's his name.
There he is.
D'Angelo Mack.
Played some pro ball with the Yankees, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
We will be live 1 to 3 on Friday. We'll be watching the game tomorrow. We'll recap the game, preview the Friday night game, and wish everybody a happy Easter. If you like our show and you enjoy our show, please subscribe to it. Please share it. Tell a friend about it. If you don't watch it and you like to listen to us or anywhere you get your podcasts, we appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We love you. We'll see you on Friday. Peace.
Peace.
Just said peace. Did you?